Alright, so this is chapter 1 review. Number 1 is asking you for the slope of the line passing through those 2 points. I've written down the formula for the slope, and I've labeled each point x sub 1, y sub 1, and then the other one x sub 2, y sub 2. That'll make it easier when you're substituting into the formula. So here we have y sub 2 is 0, y sub 1 is 9, divided by x sub 2 is 2, and x sub 1 is 0. So this becomes negative 9 over 2 as your slope. So number 2 is also a slope problem, so I'm not going to rewrite the formula, it's about number 1. I did label the points x sub 1, y sub 1, and x sub 2, y sub 2. So the slope is going to be negative 4 minus a negative 4 divided by 1 minus 8, so you get 0 over negative 7, which is 0. Remember, when you get a number over 0, you have to say undefined, okay? That's not the case right here, but if it happens to happen, if you end up with that, if you have a 0 in the denominator, it is undefined. This one, though, number 2 is 0. Alright, so for number 3, they want an equation of a line in slope-intercept form. Remember, slope-intercept looks like this. That looks like a Z. And with an undefined slope. Now remember, a line with an undefined slope is a vertical line. So it's actually an x equals line. X equals a constant. So we look at our point right here, and x is 3. So the equation of the line is x equals 3. Alright, so for number 4, they want the equation in general or standard form. Given the slope is negative 3 and passing through the point negative 7, 6. There are 2 ways of doing this problem. First is if you want to start with slope, point slope form, you would say y minus y sub 1 equals the slope times x minus x sub 1. And then from there you subtract 6 equals negative 3x. This is actually plus 7, so when you multiply by negative 3, it becomes negative 21. And so then you just move the x to the left and the 6 to the right, so I'm going to add 3x to both sides. And then that gives you 3x minus, or plus y minus 6 equals negative 21. You add 6 to both sides, and the equation is 3x plus y equals negative 15. And that would be the equation in general form. The other way is, let me change the color, the other way is to plug it into slope-intercept form. So that would be y equals m times x plus b, and then that's going to give you the b value, so negative 21, sorry, positive 21, and then you would subtract 21, right, because this here is 21, subtract 21, subtract 21, and you get b equals negative 15, so then you would just write y equals negative 3x minus 15. You add 3x to both sides, so 3x plus y is negative 15. So see, it's the same answer, just 2 different ways of getting there. Alright, so for number 5, you're looking for a point slope form equation passing through points P and Q. So for us to do that, we need to first find the slope. So it's going to be, I'll put it here on the side, m equals the difference in the y's. So I'll start with Q, point Q, 6 minus negative 2, divided by the difference in the x's. So minus 6. And so that gives me 6 plus 2, that's 8. And then negative 6 minus 6 is negative 12. Divide by 4, and I get negative 2/3. Okay, that's a slope. Now, you choose whichever point you want to use. If you want to use P or Q, I'll just use P because it's the first one. And so I'm going to write y minus y sub 1, which would be the negative 2, equals the slope times x minus x sub 1. Okay, and check your notebook for the formulas for the different forms. I didn't write it out right here, I'm just saying it out loud. So then just simplify. Y plus 2 equals negative 2/3 times the quantity of x minus 6. This is point slope form. You don't do anything else. This is it. Alright, so for number 6, you're looking for the slope and y-intercept when the equation is given to you in standard general form. Okay, so all you do is solve for y. So I've got 4y. I'm going to add 7x to both sides. So then that equals 7x plus 3. Then you divide everything by 4. So y equals 7/4 x plus 3/4. And the slope is this one without the x. I noticed some of you guys are including the x in your answer for slope. The slope is 7/4. And the y-intercept is 3/4. Okay, so this is the b, which is the y-intercept, and this is the m, which is the slope. Alright, so for number 7, you're given a point and a line, and then asked to write the point slope form of the equation that is parallel and perpendicular to the given line going through that point, negative 49. So what we need to do is find out the slope of the given line. That's what we need to find out. So I'm going to solve for y. So subtract 6x right here from both sides. And then I get negative 30y equals negative 6x plus 6. Divide by negative 30 all across. And so I'll just put it up here. Y equals 1/5 x minus 1/5. So remember, the slope is this one right here, not the x, just the 1/5. So for parallel, the slope would be the same, m equals 1/5. And since they want the equation in point slope form, you just write y minus y sub 1 equals the slope times x minus x sub 1. And then the last thing I would just do is simplify, get rid of the double negative. Minus 9 equals 1/5. Now, if they wanted the slope in the equation in slope-intercept form, then you would solve for y. If they wanted in standard general form, you would leave it like this one. You would bring it back to this form right here if they wanted standard general form. Okay, but since they said point slope form, you're done right here. Now for the parallel, on this side, that's going to be, the slope is going to be opposite and reciprocal. So instead of 1/5, it's going to be negative 5. Negative 5 over 1. The same point, y minus 9 equals negative 5 times the quantity of x minus x sub 1. Since we already know that, we're going to have a double negative, might as well just put plus 4 and get it done in one step. So here's the answer in point slope form. Alright, so for this one, they already gave us the given line in slope-intercept form. So it's really simple to get the slope from here. It's to negative 5. Okay, so that's your slope. So for a parallel line, the slope is going to be negative 5. And they want it in slope-intercept form, so we're going to write it as y. So I'm using, this is my x and this is my y. This is slope-intercept form. So I have y equals m, which is negative 5, times 4, the y, plus b. So negative 20 right here. So I'm going to add 20 to both sides. So b is 23. So y equals negative 5x plus 23. That's a parallel line. The perpendicular line is going to have a slope of positive positive 1/5 because it's opposite and reciprocal. So you write 3 equals m, which is 1/5, times x plus b. So this is 4/5. So I'm going to subtract 4/5, subtract 4/5. So that's 2 and 1/5 for b, which is the same thing as 11/5, changing it to a mixed number, to an improper fraction. So y equals 1/5 x plus 11/5. And that's the answer for the perpendicular line.